Thankfully, it is usually only once every 3 years, although who knows this time. The general election is not only a high point for the politicians, the gauntlet is also thrown down to news organisations to deliver fast, accurate results and insightful analysis. So it's the media's big night to shine or not. With me to give election night coverage, the once-over media commentators Wayne Hope and Irene Gardiner. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
All right, Wayne, let's start with you. We'll talk electronic media because, of course, the Fourth Estate is somewhat to one side on the evening itself.
Yep.
Let's talk television first. How do you think they did?
Well, TV1 had the most technologically accomplished coverage, but their mathematician was an embarrassment. Called the election wrong, and we had a 50% chance of being right, and he got it wrong. That's not too good for a mathematician, is it?
Well, he got it wrong, of course, because he was looking at the trend and basing it on previous elections.
But politics is more than laptops, don't you think?
Well, you would think so, yes. But does that mean that you should wait before you make predictions? Should you give it another hour or so before you call it?
And no, it means that you listen to your analysts more rather than concentrating on him too much and concentrating too much on the chief electoral commentator rather than looking at the analysts and rather than looking at the political players themselves. So although TV1's coverage was technologically accomplished, it was a little bit unbalanced.
All right, TV3?
TV3 had less bells and whistles, but quite good interaction among the commentators and analysts, especially between Michael Laws and Therese Arsenault, the political scientist from Canterbury University. They never agreed on anything, and I thought that was great.
Although, is that good for forming opinions and knowing exactly where you are?
Well, they had good reasons for not agreeing with each other. That was what was good. I mean, there was good debates and arguments.
Now, like so many New Zealanders, Irene, you had the evening in front of the TVs and that. You had it all going. You had a house full of people from all corners of the political spectrum. What did you think of the television coverage?
I thought TV1's was very good, actually. I mean, I do take on board Wayne's point about that prediction being wrong, but I thought it was clear and easy to follow their coverage. Their graphics were very good. I could understand what was going on. I thought it was quite a slick presentation. It made sense to me. We did flip over to TV3 quite a bit, and I think TV3 did what TV3 does, which is be the alternative. It's not as high budget. It captures the sort of slightly more irreverent spirit. It's cheekier, and I think it did that well. Wasn't really my cup of tea. I found their graphics very hard to follow, and which could be my ageing eyesight. But
no, I thought the graphics on one were very good.
They were.
I thought the constant graphics at the bottom of the screen were very good.
And I thought that Susan and Mark were very good, and you know, with a few exceptions, I thought the commentators were quite good, and I could follow it. You know, I felt informed by it, which was
all right. Well, as the papers were sort of starting to reach their deadlines, you were tuning into radio as well a little bit, Wayne. How did so very quickly national radio? How did they handle it?
Pretty well, just pretty well straight up and down, reporting numbers as they came in. I think the best interpretations on radio, and perhaps the best advanced predictions, on Radio Live, Matt McCartan called the Tamaki Makaurau seat about an hour before any other news outlet, because he knew that Tamahiri was doing badly in the indicator booths. And so that's a classic example of someone who knows about politics picking things up, rather than trying to read out the results off a laptop and interpret it out of that.
It's an instance like this where electronic media have it all over the Fourth Estate because, of course, they have run-in times. And so deadlines were arriving from as early, I understand, for some of the papers, at 9:30 in the evening. Second editions, the deadlines were coming up about 11 o'clock, well before the thing was over. You've got awards to hand out, and then we'll talk about the Fourth Estate.
No, to a degree, we're all getting a bit over the election at this point, and I thought I could perhaps have the...
But the election's not over yet.
No, that's the whole thing.
Exactly.
How can you get over something that's not over?
Exactly, and you know, I thought I'd have the not entirely serious election coverage awards.
He's very snippy.
Well, it's not over yet, is it?
No, it's not over yet.
That's why we're over it, though, because it's not over yet. Anyway, the not
entirely... That doesn't make any sense.
The not entirely serious election coverage awards.
Right.
Most overused phrase on election night coverage?
Was?
It's early days yet.
Early days yet, right. I think I'm going to say anyone's game, but who was the one that used that the most?
It was everyone, especially on TV1. It's early days yet.
Do you know what it is now? Bottom line.
Bottom,
and cab off the rank.
Cab off the rank. And variations upon. OK, best Sunday newspaper front page?
Oh. It had to be this one here. By luck, we have it here. And I think the Herald on Sunday was good, but that
is the best.
I think said it all. That was the best.
Limbo.
OK, Sunday Star Times gets that award.
Worst prediction in copy written before the election and published after the election. Radio host JJ Feeney's column in the Sunday News saying that Rodney Hyde's alternative career could be as a clown at kids' birthday parties.
Yes, which could be true. It's just come a little bit soon, perhaps.
Soon.
Right.
Most interesting interaction between a politician and journalist on election night?
Was.
I have it on good authority that Rodney Hyde was so excited when he won, or found out that he'd won, that he kissed the Herald on Sunday reporter David Fisher.
Really? Really? I suppose you're allowed to say that, aren't you?
No,
Is that the lot?
No. One more.
Okay, one more.
Best line from election night coverage, Jeremy Wells on TV1 from the West Coast saying, if a Weka crosses the track, it's going to be a national win. But we saw two pukekos mating, so what does that mean?
And nobody knew. And nobody knew. That's right, yeah. So most ridiculous line. Worst performance by a politician on election night. Who would you give that to?
Let me have a turn. Well, it's Peter Bottomline Dunn, isn't it?
Well, you see, I think he was the second worst.
Oh, God,
I think
who was
Richard Worth.
Oh, he wasn't great.
He was hands down the winner for me.
Can I give the best?
Wayne.
All right, best.
The most poignant moment for me was Tariana in her speech thanking her supporters and making a reference to Maturata, the founder of Manamata Hake,
yes.
who presaged the birth of the Murray Party.
It's true.
And that was provided a political context for what happened on the night, which was sadly lacking in a lot of the coverage.
All right, very quickly, can I just have a comment from you, Wayne, on the papers the following day?
Couldn't do much because the actual result came out so late that all they could do was just report the facts. The best post-election analysis was on national radio, on Chris Laidlaw's show with Chris Trotter, the New Zealand Scoop editor, Gordon Campbell and Gareth Morgan. That was a very interesting discussion.
Yeah. Given the lack of result, very hard for the papers, Irene.
Yes, mine were incredibly late in my letterbox as a subscriber. Very, very
They
late.
were waiting as long
Last
as
one
they
about
possibly
10.
could, I suppose. All right, Wayne Hope, Irene Gardiner, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.